Plaintiff Tanya Gardside says she met the defendant through a mutual friend, and after he was released from prison, Tanya allowed him to move into her home. Tanya claims the defendant was filthy, and there were ants and roaches in his bedroom. She's suing him today for a damaged camera and unpaid loans. Defendant Randy Trench says when he met Tanya, she represented herself as a sheriff and a private investigator. However, Randy believes that the sheriff's badge that Tanya wore was won at a raffle, and she's nothing but a fraud. Randy denies owing Tanya for the broken camera, and he's countersuing for the value of a motorcycle.
Start with you.
Your Honor, I met Randy Trench in June of 2009. At the present time, we had a mutual friend, and he was incarcerated, and he was being released.
Incarcerated, but
yeah,
that's fine. I mispronounce words.
Thank you, sir.
I slip up on my grammar sometimes. So, but I just, and I don't mind being corrected. Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, that evening when he got released, he came to live at my house. My husband had just passed away a couple of months before.
Sorry to hear that.
So I agreed to let Mr. Trench move into my house temporarily until he can get onto his feet.
So she says you were incarcerated.
Yes.
Then what happened from there? The rooming situation. How did that come about?
I rented a room. I was looking for a safe haven.
Pardon me?
I was looking for a safe haven because I had just...
You on the run?
No, sir. The reason why I was thrown in jail is I called the police on a woman who had a meth problem, and I was trying to protect her kid. The lady came out and filed abusive charges, drummed up that charges were dropped. But at that time, that was for defense. So I was thrown in jail for 5 days trying to help this kid out and myself because it just got crazy.
Why were you looking for safety?
Because the people she hung around with, I lived there for a year. Within 5 months, this person had radically changed. I didn't even know this person anymore. Start hanging around with a lot of bad people. And since I called the police to that house where there was a lot of drugs happening, I was not liked.
All right. So once again, you were kind of
yes, sir,
in hiding or on the run
yes, sir,
from the dope fiends.
Yes.
All right. Or the drug dealers. All right, ma'am. And so you rented to him, and how was that experience?
That was a very strange experience. And I had a housekeeper, and she would come in every other week to clean my house. And every time she'd go into Randy's room to clean, she would find ants, cockroaches, pizza underneath the bed. There was a dead mouse in the garage, in the closet, and I do have a witness statement from her.
So what was the agreement on rent?
The agreement on rent was $560 a month, and he did pay that on a monthly basis. I have no qualms with that. What I am suing him for is from loans for his court costs. I paid out $350 for a restraining order that he requested.
What was that legal problem?
The same legal problem with the ones that he's having now. He was afraid at the time that now that he was living at my ranch, that she might come around there and be, and ruin some of my property. And then also with his driver's license was revoked because of him having a problem in the past. And I did write a check for $22 for that and took him to the DMV office to retrieve it.
All right.
And then also he had a DUI in a previous case, and in August of 2009, I loaned him another $250 to keep him out of jail.
Your total amount of loans?
Total amount of loans is $766. There's also the half of a camera.
All right. Well, let's get through the loans first. When was he to repay?
He was to repay when he could, and he said that he would. And he
when
had
was
been
the
given,
last loan?
August of 2009.
All right, about a year ago. Has he paid anything?
Not on the loan, sir.
All right, let's hear about the loan before we get to the camera, sir.
Yes, at this time, after I moved in the house, she represented herself as a sheriff of the law and a licensed private eye. You can see the badge that she's wearing was, as a sheriff, was won at a raffle at the VFW.
Nicer than mine.
Doyle says it's nicer than his.
Well, It's not a raffle gift, honestly, sir. I worked hard to get this badge.
In what capacity do you work for the law?
I don't, actually. I'm an honorary sheriff.
Okay.
It's an elected position. I go to the community of Summit.
That's how she got it, by selling raffle tickets.
Hold on, sir.
Well, if I'm raising money for the veterans and
Correct.
and for our
It is a
community.
very frequent practice in many cities, including Detroit, where I'm from and sat as a judge for 5 years, to give citizens honorary police status, particularly if they've been involved in Neighborhood Watch, or, some of the preachers who supported the mayor or the city council. Hey, well, I need a badge and I need to be able to say I'm the police.
You get guns too?
It's customarily awarded to citizens who are productive in their community. So congratulations. That means
Thank
that's
you
what
very
you're
much,
doing.
sir. That's
All
I
right.
do.
Go ahead. So she is indeed an honorary sheriff, and therefore what?
She represented herself as a legal sheriff and a private eye, licensed private eye. My witness heard her say it.
I never said that.
You walk into her house, there's sheriff stuff all over the place, and she plays that role. It's a scam, in my opinion, sir.
Okay.
I hired her to do work to save me money for court fees. I was paying her $500 a week. I make a good
For
living.
what, sir?
That is
For
not
working as a private eye and a sheriff. And she was a fraud. I was paying her $500 a week
To
That
do
was-
what again?
to pay my rent, to rent a truck, to pay whatever bills and whatever I had to pay her for legal fees or whatever.
$2,000 a month.
Yes, sir.
Beginning when?
July.
When did the loan come about?
It wasn't about the loans. It was hiring her as a detective to catch the woman that filed the abuse charges
Okay, the
against
woman
me.
that you put a restraining order on.
Right.
All right, so you were paying her for her private eye services
Yes.
to catch this woman
Doing
who
drugs.
You had a restraining order on. Okay,
Yes,
makes
sir.
perfect sense.
All right.
All right, so $500 a week included that, I guess, in your rent.
Yes.
Let's talk about the loans then.
Yeah. From what I thought everything was included because every time there was a loan, I'd give her $500 next week. It just all kept turning around.
Okay, now we have to go back to what you just said a minute ago. You said it wasn't for the loans. So let's try this again. When did you begin repaying on the loan as part of the $500 a week?
It was all included. That's what I thought.
When?
The week after.
The week after what?
The day she paid the loan.
Good enough. Now, what do you want to tell me about the camera?
On the camera, I was over at his last place of where he was living, and there was a restraining order against him.
She was on a stakeout.
I was not on a stakeout. sir.
That's right.
I was not out there to see if they were doing meth. He wanted his truck back, which I called the AAA, and my friend here, Miss Yoho, we both went over there and we waited for the AAA. We had the vehicle towed back over to the ranch where I was at, and I had inadvertently put the camera on top of the truck, and when the tow truck moved, it took the camera and it fell on the ground. The replacement of the camera was $131.
How does he owe you for that?
I'm only asking for half of it because I feel half of it was my fault. The other half I feel was his fault because I would not have been there if it wasn't for him.
Your counterclaim, $5,000 for a motorcycle. How does she owe you for that?
Basically, I spent all my money given to her when I could have hired legal representation.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I lost the motorcycle because I didn't have any money after I paid her everything.
Right.
And I found
because
out
you
when
paid rent, you couldn't buy a motorcycle. Is that what you're saying?
No, sir.
Tell me what you're saying again, then.
Basically, during the situation in the prior place, I had a Harley Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
It was called a Fat Boy. The people broke into my room, forged my name, and put it in their name. And basically, this whole case kept going. She was supposed to assist me in this, and she aggravated a lot of people. I had to go to Sacramento to get all the correct paperwork. Okay, at this time that I was paying her for assistance, she was drinking a lot. She fell down, had black eyes. She went to court
Bull crap.
to represent me in an abuse case with 2 black eyes. And it was just like, it just got worse and
Randy, you're
worse
lying.
and worse.
Yeah.
Now, one last time, connect that to the loss of your motorcycle.
All the the money that I was giving her for her to represent me in the case prior to this, could have used it on my case to get my bike back.
Gotcha. And because she was negligent in representing you, you think that she caused the motorcycle to be taken from you?
She was fraudulent. She was not what she said she was.
Okay. Had she won, you wouldn't be suing her, would you?
No.
So the fraud doesn't really make a difference. Only when you lose. And once again, you've lost today.
That's fine.
I'm going to grant her judgment, $766, and dismiss your claim. Have a good day.
Thank you.
I think he's calling me a friend because he really doesn't know what I do. I'm not a private investigation, never have admitted to being a private investigator. All I do is do public works for people, finding them the proper paperwork and showing them how, where, and where to go and do it.
And she's point blank lying. I have a witness. She had her.
I was there when she claimed to be a private investigator and a sheriff.
She had her badge. She was flashing it. The whole deal.